My roommate boasted that her boyfriend had donated $2 million to the university, but the anonymous donor of those $2 million was actually me. Her boyfriend, in fact, was one of the security guards working for my family. Recently, my roommate Madison Taylor started dating a guy who, according to her, was very rich and couldn't stop flaunting it around the dorm. "Guys, look at this Cartier bracelet he gave me. Isn't it amazing?" Madison raised her wrist to make sure the light hit it just right, emphasizing the piece. "Wow, that must have cost a fortune. Your boyfriend is so generous. Does he have any friends who could introduce us?" The other girls crowded around her, showering her with compliments. Madison even started handing out some expensive cosmetics, and everyone rushed to grab what they could, admiring her even more. I was sitting off to the side, reading quietly and avoiding attention, but that caught Madison's eye, and she shot me a bitter look. "Leah, don't you think this Cartier bracelet is incredible? Way better than that simple silver bracelet you always wear, right?" she asked. I looked at her bracelet and immediately realized it was a fake. My simple silver bracelet, however, was a limited edition piece from Tiffany. But seeing Madison so proud of her luxury item, I held back and simply said, "Yes, it's really nice. My little silver bracelet isn't anything special." Madison's smile widened, clearly satisfied. She walked over and slapped my book shut. "Leah, you really should invest in some decent jewelry. It's embarrassing to be seen with you." I was left speechless. Everyone knew that Madison didn't come from a wealthy family. She had grown up in a humble household, often wearing second-hand t-shirts and jeans before this boyfriend appeared. Now, she acted like a socialite. Another roommate, Carrie, joined Madison, linking arms with her. "Don't worry about her. You and she aren't in the same league. Let's go out for dinner tonight. I want to hear more about your boyfriend." Madison smiled and answered loudly, "I can't. I'm going out with my boyfriend tonight." Carrie's eyes sparkled with envy. "Oh, at some fancy restaurant, right? Don't forget to post." Madison ignored her, focusing on her makeup for a good 15 minutes before putting on her only designer dress, which she claimed cost over $10,000, and left looking like royalty. That evening, I ordered spicy ramen and was eating quietly in the dorm when Carrie screamed after seeing something on her phone. Madison just posted, "Look, caviar, truffle pasta, filet mignon." A group of girls crowded around to see, and Carrie looked at my ramen with disdain. Some people go on fancy dates with rich guys, and others stay home with takeout. Isn't that a striking difference? When I didn't respond, Carrie shook the phone in my face. "See, Madison and her boyfriend are the perfect couple." I glanced at the picture, and my interest was immediately piqued. The playboy with his arm around Madison was actually the new security guard at my family's estate. My father made his fortune with a major investment, and when I was in high school, we had it all: designer clothes, private drivers, and more. But the downside was that I was almost kidnapped. After that, my father insisted I maintain a low profile at university, although he bought me a house near the campus in Boston. He encouraged me to stay in the dorm like any other student. I was still used to high-quality clothes, so when people commented, I'd say they were fakes to keep a low profile. Over time, everyone thought I had a strange obsession with fake brands. I didn't care. I was there to study. My father never had the chance to attend university, so he always told me, "Maybe the only resource we have is money, but work hard and make me proud." I came to college with the goal of earning scholarships every year. Money didn't matter. It was a matter of honor. I spent most of my time in the library and rarely returned to the house my father had bought. Recently, we had to replace one of our security guards, and the previous one recommended his nephew, James Henry. He seemed reliable, so I hired him without thinking twice. And there he was, posing as Madison's rich boyfriend. Madison came back from the date wearing a fake Chanel outfit and carrying a pile of gifts. She opened them one by one while the girls worshipped her. "This Chanel looks amazing on you. And this Gucci perfume, can I hold it for a bit?" Madison soaked up the admiration, even throwing me a provocative look as she showed off a designer bag. "Hey, Leah, I remember you have a similar Hermes. Want to grab it so we can compare?" I took out an earbud, barely reacting as Madison opened my closet, placing my Hermes bag next to hers. Madison raised her voice. "Wow, Leah, your bag doesn't look like mine, huh?" The difference was obvious. Her bag was shinier, with thicker edges and noticeably inferior material, indicating it was a fake. Carrie caught the hint and commented, "Oh right, Leah started college with fake items. Makes sense her bag wouldn't be real." She continued, "Buying fakes doesn't change your origins. Having fake things only deceives you." They expected me to back down, but I stayed calm, resisting the urge to pull out the receipts right there. My father's advice echoed in my mind. So, I held back. "Madison, did you ask for permission before rummaging through my things?" "Carrie, you're an expert at flattery. You two make a great team." Madison laughed and grabbed a pair of scissors. "Well, if I hadn't looked, I would never know how far your vanity goes. Let me be kind and help you cut this fake." I responded calmly. "Madison, even if this Hermes bag were fake, it would still be worth thousands. Are you sure you could afford that?" After a pause, Madison stepped back, irritated, and put the scissors away. I paid no more attention and focused on getting a scholarship. "Actually, the millionaire boyfriend you like to brag about is just one of my family's security guards," I said firmly, but without arrogance, while she stared at me, speechless, trying to process the blow. The dean watched the scene with a slight satisfaction, as if he had been waiting for this moment. I hadn't intended to humiliate her publicly, but Madison had crossed every line. She stole what was mine by right, lied, manipulated. I couldn't just keep watching. She started to stutter, trying to find an escape. "You're lying. That's impossible. Why would you hide in the dorm? Why would you wear such simple clothes?" "I don't need to prove anything to anyone, Madison. And that's the difference between us." I looked at her, letting my words sink in. "You chose a path of lies and manipulation, while all I wanted was to study in peace." The dean cleared his throat and spoke, with no patience for Madison's empty arguments. "Given the proven fraud and attempts at manipulation, Madison, you will lose your scholarship and be removed from the dorm. However, you may continue your studies at the university like any other student who behaves honestly and responsibly." The shock in her eyes was devastating. In that moment, she realized she had lost everything she thought she had gained. The false glamour, the admiration of others, the illusion of status. And now, like everyone else, she would have to face the reality she had always tried to hide. Weeks passed, and the consequences began to unfold. Madison was forced to leave the dorm, returning to a life she had so despised. Without the scholarship, her time at the university became much harder. Now, everyone knew who she really was. A simple girl, without the fortune or privileges she had tried so hard to sell. The looks of admiration she used to get were now looks of pity or disdain, and she knew that all the attention she had once craved had turned into something that hurt her deeply. Despite everything, I kept my profile low. I made no effort to broadcast what had happened or brag, but the rumors had already spread. Some people approached me, trying to befriend me, praising my discretion and generosity. However, I rejected the fake friends. I was there to study and focus on my future, something my father had always encouraged me to do. Interestingly, Madison still walked around, looking so out of place and lonely that, at times, I caught myself wondering if it had all really been worth it. However, remembering how she had tried to manipulate and steal my merit, compassion quickly faded. Madison would learn a valuable lesson. When I saw Madison leaving the dean's office with a red face and swollen eyes, I knew that was just the beginning of what she truly deserved. Although she had lost the scholarship and the dorm, she still had the chance to continue at the university. And honestly, that didn't seem fair to me. Madison had ruined so many things for me, harmed others, and manipulated people without a second thought. If she thought she could walk away from this situation with just a suspension and the loss of her scholarship, she was gravely mistaken. I wanted her to experience what it was like to lose everything. In the following weeks, Madison walked around campus like a shadow, always with her head down, avoiding the stares and comments from people. Her former friends, those who once admired her, now ignored her as they passed. But I knew that wasn't enough. The hurt and anger I felt hadn't faded. In fact, it only grew every time I saw her at the university, as if she still thought she could recover what she had lost. That's when an idea began to form in my mind. Madison still had some credibility. Some professors and students believed she had just made a mistake, but I knew how to destroy that credibility completely. I started going through her social media and our old conversations, looking for something I could use against her. In one of our rare chats, I found something interesting: a heated argument Madison had with a classmate about a project. In that moment, she mentioned that, if she wanted, she could easily get access to the old exams for the course. It was an offhand remark, probably meant to impress the classmate, but I knew it could be the seed for something much bigger. I devised a meticulous plan. The following week, I obtained an old exam for the course and modified some answers to make it look like someone had tried to adapt it. Then, using a fake email profile through the university's system, I sent an anonymous tip to the academic department, claiming that Madison was involved in a cheating scheme to get the exams and answers before the tests. The tip was detailed enough to seem real but vague enough not to raise suspicion about me. In the email, I described how I had overheard Madison bragging that she could get the exams and share them with other classmates, saying she charged for it. I also mentioned that other people were involved, but didn't name anyone, leaving room for the investigators to imagine the worst. I knew that, with Madison's reputation already destroyed, a slight accusation would be enough for everyone to believe she was guilty. The investigation was swift. They called Madison to the department, where they confronted her with the tip. She vehemently denied it, but the administrators were already predisposed to believe she was guilty. The rumor spread quickly across campus. Now, it wasn't just the students, but also the professors who looked at her with suspicion. I saw her walking with her head even lower, her hands trembling as she held her books, her back hunched as if carrying the weight of judgments on her shoulders. Soon enough, the university's disciplinary committee decided to expel her for a serious violation of the academic code of ethics. It was an extreme decision, but Madison had already lost all credibility. The word of an anonymous tip was stronger than her own defense. She had no one to back her up, no one who believed in her innocence. She desperately tried to appeal the decision, but her efforts were ignored. In the eyes of everyone, Madison was guilty. The day I saw her leaving the university, I watched from afar as she carried a small suitcase, walking toward the campus exit. There were no goodbyes, no one offering consolation or support. She was completely alone, expelled from a place where she had once reigned with false arrogance and ostentation. I felt a strange sense of justice forming inside me. Each step Madison took felt like the weight of all the humiliations she had made me endure was dissipating. Finally, she was paying the price for everything. The rumors about Madison were soon forgotten, and life on campus went on as if she had never been there. As for me, I continued with my studies, focusing on the goals I had set for myself. I was close to graduating with an impeccable record and a respectable path at the university. Some classmates tried to get close, but I kept my discretion, rejecting the fake friends. I had learned the value of trusting only myself. Madison was never seen again. Some people said she moved to another city, trying to start over without the weight of the shame she carried here. Other rumors claimed she returned to her hometown, where she had to face the disappointment of her own family. But, honestly, I didn't care. To me, she was just a distant figure, a ghost who tried to ruin my life, but in the end, ended up destroying herself. And when I thought about it, I didn't feel bad, regretful, or guilty. She deserved every consequence.